Four Feather Falls first aired on British television on February the 25th, 1960, and was the first puppet television series produced by AP Films that wasn't based on a concept by children's author Roberta Lee.
Different.
Instead, the idea for Four Feather Falls was dreamed up by composer Barry Gray and entered pre-production in 1959 while the final episodes of the first season of Torchy the Battery Boy were being shot.
I'm sure they've got a secret and they're not going to tell me what it is.
The series centred around the Old West frontier town of Four Feather Falls and the good folks who lived there. These included
Grandpa Twink,
Martha Jones,
Marvin Jackson,
Dan Moss,
Whoa, Jake,
Doc Haggerty and saloon owner Slim Jim.
It's a pleasure to hear him play. Yeah, especially when he hits the right notes.
But the show's central characters were Sheriff Tex Tucker,
howdy folks,
his dog Dusty,
hiya, Pop.
and horse Rocky.
Awfully pleased to meet you.
he's a thoroughbred, you see.
After saving the life of his son Makuya, Indian Big Chief Kalamakuya gave Tex Tucker 4 magic feathers, which he now wears in his hat. One feather allows Dusty to speak,
Somebody's been telling me about a talking horse. I ask him.
another the same for Rocky,
Well, really, old boy, you can talk.
while the final 2 feathers allow Tex's guns to swivel and fire of their own accord.
But I didn't touch my guns.
Tex and his animal friends must now keep the peace in Four Feather Falls, and protect their new friends from such no-good lowlifes as Mexican bandits Pedro and Fernando,
You kill Tex Tucker?
Then I can run 4 Feather Falls a mile away.
horse rustler Big Ben,
When it comes to it, you'd see me murdered rather than lift a finger.
I never said that.
and renegade Indian tribal leader Red Scalp.
No. Red Scalp. Kill.
But no matter how bad things get, Sheriff Tex will always find time to grace us with a song.
Give me those wooden shacks and open spaces, happy hearts and friendly faces, away back in my hometown.
Among the voice cast for Four Feather Falls were Denise Breyer, who had previously been heard as Footso the Cat in The Adventures of Twizzle,
I do like my store to look neat and tidy, yeah. Oh, my goodness!
and Kenneth Connor, who had voiced Mr. Bumbledrop and a variety of other characters in Torchy the Battery Boy.
You sure got us out of trouble, old timer.
My dear chap, the least I could do.
The 2 remaining members of the cast were Breyer's then-husband Nicholas Parsons as the voice of Tex Tucker,
I got a jail just made for skunks like you.
plus someone whose career would remain inextricably linked with the Gerry Anderson universe for over 60 years, David Graham.
Sit down. Make yourself at home. Okay.
Also on vocal duties was singer Michael Holliday, who provided Tex's singing voice and recorded songs for the show that were also released on vinyl.
What have I got to sing about sitting here with you?
Four Feather Falls represented a significant step forward for the world of Gerry Anderson puppetry. Unlike the previous stringed puppets of Twizzle and Torchy, the Four Feather Falls puppets would be operated by wires made of very thin tungsten steel, their more realistic heads would be sculpted from fiberglass rather than papier-mâché or wood, for the regular characters at least,
Hey, Johnny boy, are you all right?
and many of the regular characters now had the ability to move their eyes. Most significant of all, however, was the creation of a new lip-sync mechanism which allowed the puppets to speak.
Gee, thanks, boss.
Unlike the characters of Torchy, whose various mouths, ears, beaks and moustaches were all operated by wires, the Four Feather Falls characters would speak via electrical impulses that would travel down the puppets' wires to a solenoid in their head that would move their lips in time with their dialogue.
No, wouldn't you say that this was a little bit of luck? I would.
Although the system had yet to be perfected, and the term itself wouldn't be coined or even appear on screen until the 2nd season of Supercar, Four Feather Falls marked the beginning of what was soon to become known as Supermarionation.
Ah, them's mighty fine words, eh, Jake?
The first episode of Four Feather Falls was produced on a budget of £6,000 at Islet Park, the Victorian mansion that had served as the base of production for Twizzle and Torchy.
Now get out of town. And don't you ever come back.
However, following the sale of the series to Granada Television and a need to expand the puppet stage, the production was relocated to a building at Ipswich Road on the Slough Trading Estate.
That's how it all began, Jake.
This new larger studio would allow plenty of room for the town of Fourfeather Falls and its surrounding countryside, plus some more early model work in the form of the locomotive that ran through the town. Fourfeather Falls was arguably the first Anderson series that could also offer appeal to an older audience,
Hiya, friends.
with the Wild West setting providing the opportunity to introduce regular villains for the first time.
Amigo. We did it good.
And despite the inclusion of magic feathers that allowed animals to talk, the stories were pitched at a slightly more mature audience than those of Twizzle or Torchy.
But those kids is gonna get it first.
The show was also capable of being remarkably atmospheric and even somber at times.
He ain't gonna shoot him in the back. Ain't nothing to stop him.
And although any deaths would be kept firmly off screen,
You robbed that stage, and you shot the driver. Too bad you didn't know it was your own brother.
the show's characters often found themselves embroiled in gunfights to protect the town.
It just goes to show, you never can tell what's gonna happen from 1 minute to the next.
Fourfeather Falls was a hit with younger audiences and enjoyed a limited range of merchandising, with the show's characters appearing on various books, games, and even the cover of the TV Times. Fully expecting that the series would be recommissioned for a second season, the AP Films team were surprised when they were told by Granada that no further episodes would be required.
Okay, fellas, time to go. Let's be on our way before the whole town knows about it.
It was time to saddle up and look to the future, and to further the world of puppet entertainment with another exciting new series, assuming they could find anybody mad enough to finance it.
Well, horse lovers, that's about the long and the short of it.
Despite not carrying the words filmed in Supermarionation, Fourfeather Falls still has a legitimate claim to the title of being the very first Supermarionation series.
Just as I figured.
Although available on DVD in the UK, the show is often overlooked by Anderson fans, but remains a hugely enjoyable and charming series populated by a large cast of lovable characters and deserves greater exposure.
Well, I'll be doggone if that ain't the darndest thing I ever heard.
Fourfeather Falls brought to AP Films a newfound focus on action and adventure rather than pure fairy tale whimsy, and presented an ambitious concept realised on an unprecedented scale for a children's television series made in 1959. Going forward, the company would only produce bigger and more spectacular shows, but Fourfeather Falls will always remain an impressive first step in the right direction.
Well, so long for now, folks. I'll be seeing you.
Oh, Two-Gun Tex of Texas is a guy with the straightest deal, but he keeps the law with the fastest draw and a nerve as strong as steel. Oh, Two-Gun Tex of Texas is a friend who'd never fail, but if you did wrong, wouldn't take him long to clap you right in jail.